All right, YouTube, how you doing? Welcome back to the channel. It is Tuesday, August 19th. We are back from our weekend away. Yes, jet lag is kind of kicking my ass right now, but we have a 16-game MLB slate to dive into in today's video like we always do. I'm going to dive into each and every one of these games. I'll give you my prediction on the side. I'll give you my prediction on the total. We'll talk about either plays like player props that we like within the game as well. But as always, guys, keep an eye down on the pinned comment of this video. That'll take you to all of my final plays, so I'm actually rolling with myself. If that does interest, if you do want to fade me, all of that absolutely free down in the pinned comment. We did not have any plays yesterday because we did travel back now 2 days ago because we weren't able to recap yesterday. We go 1-1, so really no blood there. And no ride of the day. So let's get back on the ride of the day. If you guys don't know what it is, it's simple. Just use that hashtag ride of the day down in the comments. I jump on board with one person's play each and every day. Give you a shout out in the next video, win or loss. If you win, we continue to ride with your plays until the wheels fall off, right? If you lose, you still get the shout out, but unfortunately, you know, we're talking about a loss with the shout out, right? So get those hashtag ride of the days down in the comments. See if we can get someone to go on a little bit of a streak here. But like I said, guys, jet lag's kind of doing me over right now, but we are battling through. We got the coffee. We're rolling. Let's jump into game number one. Hit that like button. Hit that subscribe button. Excited to be back here. Let's do it. We got Milwaukee taking on Chicago, the Cubs. This is game number one of a doubleheader, so pitching could change. Obviously, keep an eye on the lineups here. At least as of right now, we have Chad Patrick up against Matthew Boyd. And in terms of where I'd go in this one, I do think this could be the underdog 2 times type of a spot. So don't be surprised when we cover the second game of this doubleheader if we go Brewers again, because I do think that this could be one. The Brewers are obviously a fantastic team right now, so it's not crazy to lean towards the Brewers in the first place, right? But 2, if you're getting plus money behind a team on a doubleheader, I never disagree with the strategy of saying, okay, well, let's try and take the underdog if at least it's a close competitive type game. Take them twice because one could pay for the other if it goes 1-1. But I don't necessarily mind the Brewers here. You have Chad Patrick on the bump. Has he had the best of go? Not necessarily. But he does throw a cutter, which is going to be a great pitch against this Chicago team. 30th is where they rank against the cutter, runs above average last 30 days. The sinker is another one of those pitches. The fastball is another one. They're bottom 4 against those pitches there. So yeah, this Cubs offense, obviously a very good offense overall, but not exactly like hooting and hollering right now, scoring runs. So I don't think it's all that crazy to lean towards the Brewers for plus money. Obviously, they lose a couple days ago, their win streak's over, but they've still won 1 million games recently. I also don't mind taking a peek at that under. I do believe we have wind blowing in at Wrigley. That's always going to be nice. And we also have to give our respect to Matthew Boyd, right? Matthew Boyd is a fantastic pitcher. He's been really, really good at home. I do think another little piece of credence to the Brewers, though, is Matthew Boyd has just a little bit of some flaws here against righties. There's a ton of righties in this lineup, including Collins, who's a switch hitter. He'll be from the right side, so maybe even more of a reason to like the Brewers today. All right, next up, we have Detroit taking on the Astros. Tarek Skubal on the bump. Throwing Gas Guys t-shirt live over on fademe.store or GuyBostonSports.com/store. He's going up against Hunter Brown. So we have 2 studs on the mound here. I will say Skubal's numbers in his last few starts, not all that tremendous. Now he's still pitching deep into games, but even still 7 innings and 3 earned is not Skubal-esque, right? And he's done that twice out of his last 3 games. And then the other one that I'm talking about against the Angels, 4 2/3, 4 earned. I think Skubal's due for a little bit of a bounce back here. I mean, obviously one of the best that we have in the game right now, going up against an Astros offense that, 1, is not doing squat right now really offensively, and 2, not exactly the best team against lefties as of right now. Now, I will give you that they actually hit the changeup really well, which is a pitch that Skubal's been referring to a lot. The fastball, not so much. The sinker, not so much, which are obviously, I would say, 2 of his better pitches, and also the slider as his force pitch. But I will just kind of throw out there that, yeah, the changeup, sure, even the top of the order per player basis, they hit the changeup fairly well. But I don't think it's necessarily fair to be like, oh, they hit the changeup well, they hit Skubal. He has, like I already mentioned, 3 other pitches in his arsenal, and his pitches are going to be a little bit more elevated than the average, fastball changeup sinker that he's going to see. I think Skubal can pitch well in a bounce back spot here. It's going to be Tigers for me, but I think the under is the only thing that I can really truly consider. Ultimately, looks like we could have some rain here in Detroit. I do think it's going to be really humid with wind blowing out to right field, which is the short part of the field. So even with rain, Ballpark Pal, has their run index at plus 9%. Rain can help unders, but also if it's humid and the ball can kind of carry a little bit further, yeah, obviously it can hurt it too. So either way, I think the weather could be a wash. The under here because we have Skubal and Brown. Like, those are two absolute studs. I could see a 4-3 game as a push, sure, but all we need is one absolute great performance out of either one of these guys with decently rested bullpens, and I think we're cooking with gas, right? Now, let me throw in the fact that, this Detroit offense may be turning a little bit of a corner. Their last few games, 1, but then 8, 7, 4 in their last, so 4 of their last 5, they went for 4+. 3 of their last 4, they went for 7+. Maybe they're able to put up, a few more than the Astros, who have now scored, I think it's 0 in 3 of their last 4. So that's kind of why I like the Tigers. They're at home with Skubal in a bounce-back spot. But if you're on the Astros today for plus money with Brown, you're not going to get him for plus 135 very often, so don't think I'd argue too hard on that if that's the side you're on. Real quick, guys, let me talk to you about Sleeper. If you have not checked them out yet, you need to do so. Today, they're offering a Nick Pivetta free square, but you're also going to get your first deposit matched up to $100. You put in $100, you'll have $200 to play with because they give you a freebie, right? If you put in $50, you'll have $100 to play with because they give you a freebie, $50. You can scan the QR code on your screen right now or use the link down in the description as well as the pinned comment. Sign up for Sleeper today. If you love player props and have not tried them out yet, you are missing out on one of the easiest ways to do it, one of the most creative ways to do it, and just most fun ways to do it. They're offering discounts and promos constantly, and I know they're going to kick things up for the football season. So get on today, guys. Again, that link is down below in the description, as well as the pinned comment, or if you're watching on your phone, want to take a screenshot, or on the TV or on your computer, just scan that QR code now. You'll get that free square, you'll get all those bonuses, and you'll get your first deposit doubled upon sign up. So go ahead and check it out. Again, link down below. Let's jump back into these games. Next up, we have the Marlins taking on St. Louis. Marlins 8-3 dub yesterday. Today, we have Edward Cabrera on the mound. He's going up against Michael McGreevy. McGreevy really hasn't been terrible. I would say the word would be inconsistent. And when things are bad, they can kind of go rocky, right? But, if he's going to give you 6 innings of 3 earned in the middle/back of this St. Louis rotation, then sure. Cabrera, I do think, has been fantastic. I mean, he's coming off a really bad start, 5 1/3, 5 earned, 7 hits, 6 strikeouts, 3 walks against Cleveland. But before that, 1, 1, 1, and 1 in 8, 6, 6, and 6 innings of pitching. So I think that we do have an upper hand on the Marlins side of things, a little bit more consistent. He's back at home as well. Give me the Marlins in this spot. I don't know if I love the price, but it's moving in the direction that says, hey, if you like the Marlins, you might want to be earlier than later, I guess. Sooner the better in this one, because you could still get them right in the mid -130s, but I see some other books out there late -140s. Where I'm actually looking into playing something, it's going to be that first 3 under. I think McGreevy can kind of hang in there. He's been pretty good on the road this year and good against righties, which is huge for this lineup. I think that he's going to be good for 3 or 5 innings. In terms of his hit rate, it's definitely probably preference to go towards the first 3. He's been pretty good to the first 3 this year and also this year on the road. The first 5 is like a way different hit percentage. So clearly him through the next time the order and whatnot could be some struggles, but I think Cabrera can go out there and pitch really well against St. Louis, who, their offense is like meh right now, right? And that might even be generous. And then this is a team in which I would see the Marlins kind of struggling at least one time through the order. So, yeah, and I think, did I say the Marlins won yesterday 8-3? It was 8-3, but St. Louis ended up winning that. But either way, their offense has been kind of all over the place. So give me Cabrera to go out there and pitch well, kind of handle the bulk of these first 3 innings and give that lean towards the Marlins. But also McGreevy, one time through the order, keeping the ball on the ground. There's one thing that he does really well. It does keep the ball on the ground, especially against righties, a 1.81 ground ball to fly ball rate. First 3 under definitely could be something that I prefer more than anything else we talked about in this game. All right, next up, Pittsburgh taking on Toronto. Pittsburgh gets the win yesterday, 5-2. Skeens Gosman went. Today we have Max Scherzer going up against Mitch Keller. Mitch Keller has... It's been really weird. The team is 4-1 in his last 5 starts. He has a near 4 ERA, though. He's averaging a boatload of hits per game, almost a home run per game, 3 walks per game, just 4 strikeouts. He really hasn't been pitching all that well. I'll give you that he's a little bit better at home than he is on the road, and that he's decent against righties compared to lefties. There's obviously a lot of righties in this Toronto lineup, but Max Scherzer, I think, should be able to hold his own. He's been very good against righties, and there's certainly a lot of righties in this Pittsburgh lineup. So for me, there's a few things we could be looking at here. I like the Blue Jays. The fact that we can snag them at -139 right now, they are the far and away better team. Probably going to be locking that in, but I also don't mind their team total over. You're paying a little bit of juice, but over on Caesars right now, you can get them for over 3.5. I think that might be a spot that we look at as well. So maybe a half unit on them on the money line, half unit over 3.5, and see where that takes us. In terms of a player prop, George Springer has been absolutely going off. 3.4 hits, runs, and RBIs over his last 10 games here. From a head-to-head perspective, yesterday, I mean, he had 2, so he had 1 run, 1 hit. He's averaging, I think, 1.5 dating back to last year against this squad, but I do like him in a spot here against a righty. He's batting .311 on the season against righties, 155 WRC+. He's going to see the fastball, slider, sinker, and curve. The fastball, sinker, and slider are pitches that I like him hitting as well. And in fact, with our pitch mix rating via scorepredicts.com, predict spelled P-R-E-D-I-X, so scorepredicts.com, our simulation site, he has a 6.4 pitch mix rating out of 10. Pretty damn good. So yeah, that's mostly because of the fastball and the slider. So I do like George Springer today, but even still, just overall, I like Toronto's offense. Though we have some wind blowing in, and it looks like there could be a chance of rain, I still think that, regardless of the long ball going out or anything like that, because the wind blowing in, I think Toronto can get a lot of guys on against Keller and hopefully go out there and just bring in 4 runs. That doesn't seem like the tallest of tasks for a good offense like this, but they've had their ups and downs. We can't really deny that, right? Like, I've been like a Toronto truther that, hey, it's just a little cold streak. They're still really, really good. They definitely have had some troublesome games, but I don't think today against Keller. I just can't see it. Give me the Blue Jays, their team total over, and then a couple guys on those lined up to do really well, including Springer. All right, quick one here because I don't have too much to say about it. We have the Nats taking on the Mets. David Peterson on the bump. He's going up against Jake Irvin, so I'd say strong pitching advantage to this Mets team. I'd either look at this, maybe Mets team total over, Washington team total under, or just say, okay, figure out how to get to the Mets, right? They're going to have all 9 at-bats if you want to look at them, -1. But even still, I don't know if it's like this is a Mets team that we can fully trust, right? So maybe Mets -1 would be the way to do this, or Washington team total under if you really do just want to back David Peterson. He's coming off, I want to say it's 2 or 3, I'd say 2.5 bad starts in a row, but before that, obviously very, very good. He saw this team earlier this year, and guess what? 0 earned, 6 hits, complete game, 9 innings, 6 strikeouts, no walks. So Peterson should be all right. This is a Washington team that struggles against lefties. They struggle to hit the sinker, the slider, the fastball. These are all pitches that he throws. So maybe Washington team total under is the easiest way to go about this. In terms of odds you can get right now, let me get the updated line here for us. So Washington team total under, we're looking at under 3.5 for -118. Maybe that's a look, but like I said, not too much to say about this game. Phillies taking on the Mariners. Looks like we're going to have Chris Sanchez on the bump for Philadelphia, going up against Bryce Miller. I'd say a massive pitching advantage for the Phillies, right? Also probably an offensive advantage. Though the Seattle team is a good offense, they have been a little inconsistent, leading to their 5-5 record over their last 10 here. The Phillies have won 3 of their last 4, including yesterday's game in which they win 12-7. To me, this is a spot in which we get the Phillies. Now, I don't like them on the money line. It's too much juice, so maybe taking a peek at Phillies -1. You can get that right around -130 right now. And we've been getting a lot of questions in the comments. What's the difference between money line and -1? It is very simple, so don't overthink it. -1 means, yes, -1 is what they have to win by, but if they win by just 1, it's a push because they didn't cover that -1. Whereas money line, think of it as like -0.5. If they win by 1, they still cover the fact that they won, but a -1 would be a push. That's a little bit of the difference. Alternate run line here. Also, don't mind Seattle team total under. I almost want to take a peek at the under just in general because I could see, Bryce Miller somehow, some way getting through and then handing it off to a pretty decent Seattle bullpen that has their key arms. That said, like this Phillies offense at home, it's going to be, 73 degrees or something like that. Like, this doesn't seem like the right move to go full game under. So, yeah, Seattle team total under. Let's trust Sanchez here in this spot, right? And then Schwarber over 1.5 hits, runs, and RBIs. He's going to see a lot of fastballs, and he's at home. I think this is going to be a nice little spot for him to do something there. Though I believe you're paying a decent amount of juice for that. I think it's like -140. At that point, you might just say, hey, Schwarber, go hit one out of the ballpark for us. Also, though, wind blowing from right to left, so it's not going to kind of inhibit his pull ability to launch one. So, again, over 1.5 hits, runs, and RBIs. But realistically, Phillies -1, probably what I'm looking at here. If Schwarber goes deep or has a good game, it's only going to help the Phillies overall. And they have Chris Sanchez. We have to include that some way, shape, or form into where we think we have our advantage on the Phillies side. All right, Red Sox taking on the Orioles. Tomoyuki Sugano on the mound for the Orioles, going up against Walker Buehler. Now, Walker Buehler, obviously, someone that you cringe whenever siding with, but I do think the Red Sox offense could have a decent game today. You're going to get a lot of fastballs and a lot of cutters out of Sagano, which the Red Sox last 30 days, one of the top teams against both of those pitches, top 5. They're at home after not scoring too many runs yesterday, just 3, and catching a loss. They've lost now 3 straight against Baltimore. I think this is a spot in which, this Red Sox team says, all right, let's 1, step up to get a win, and 2, at least at the very least, go score some runs, especially against the guy that they seemingly would match up well against, his pitch mix here. Now, I do also like Duran just because of that fastball cutter. He hits those 2 pitches really, really well, so those could be spots that we look at from a player prop, but as of right now, I am all over the Red Sox and them scoring runs. I think that they get to 4 easy today, but you're paying too much juice, so it's probably just going to be a Red Sox money line play, in the sense that they score runs, not necessarily that Walker Buehler is going to go out there and say, yeah, all right, let's shut everyone down. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, give me the Red Sox, their team total over. Duran's over as well. And Duran, let's see what his updated odds are as of right now. Because they looked pretty good for his over. Yeah, so his 1.5 at -155. It's a little bit too much, but realistically, in a lot of books, you're going to see, I think, 2.5s today as well, because I'm not the only one in the world that realizes that he hits both the fastball and cutter super well, and put him on the base paths. He's a menace to get either, that run coming through or a second hit. So to me, maybe Duran might not have the value if you're paying that much juice. I think I'm just circling around the target here. Red Sox money line. It's probably going to be the final play today. I feel like we're kind of talking in circles, whereas I think everything ends up Red Sox today except Walker Buehler. That guy scares me. But you know what, Walker? Go out and do it for the hometown kid, all right? All right, kind of a quick one here because sound the psycho alert alarm. I can't get to the Atlanta side at that price. So to me, this is only going to be a White Sox spot. We have Shane Smith on the bump going up against Bryce Elder. I like Shane Smith. Do I like him on the road? Not so much. Do I love him against lefties? Not so much. There are a couple scary lefties in this lineup, but a lot more righties, right? But even Profar would be a lefty because Shane Smith's a righty up from the switch side. To me, yeah, for the value that you're getting, it would only be White Sox, right, at +150. But I feel like it's all kind of dried up. Like, usually when we take these heavy underdogs, it's like, oh, we love them that if they lost the day before because that's obvious. The White Sox winning the first 2 games in this series wouldn't have been on my bingo card in the first place, right? So to me, it's White Sox and under, but I don't necessarily love the idea. Or I should say this, I do love the idea. I don't know if I have the cojones to drop him on the table and say, hey, let's do it again, Chief. You know what I mean? So White Sox in the under. I think Shane Smith can pitch all right. Bryce Elder probably holds his own, I guess we could say, but he really isn't all that trustworthy. And both of these offenses have been very inconsistent. So a lot of question marks here. It's really Shane Smith that's kind of putting it over the top for me. But I hate the fact that the White Sox won yesterday because this would be a perfect spot to get +145, +150 odds. But I just didn't see them and don't see them winning the first 2 games of this series, especially on the road. At Tampa Bay taking on New York, we have Carlos Rodon on the bump for the Yankees, going up against Shane Baz here for Tampa Bay. He's struggled at home this year, which I guess to some degree, some way, shape, or form, playing in that ballpark kind of makes sense. He is going to throw a lot of fastballs, which should be good against New York, and kind of the same thing on the other side. Rodon being a lefty, throwing a lot of fastballs, throwing a lot of sliders. Tampa Bay does not hit either one of those pitches. You could see via our dashboard, which can be found over on GuyBostonSports.com. You head to the members area, sign up today. But you can see fastball, slider right there, right? Fastball, slider, not all that great. Fastball, not all that great. So for me in this one, it's kind of weird, but I could see it totally happening. Is that the Yankees, first and foremost, I do think are the better team. I think they're playing better baseball. So I'll lean Yankees, but I also see a first 5 under. And a full game over. I think you hand it off to the bullpen and we could see some runs. Certainly the Yankees bullpen not all that trustworthy. And in Tampa Bay, though their numbers, both from a whip and a ERA perspective, look very, very good and they're really, really rested, it still does not strike me as a spot in which the Yankees, the minute they get past Shane Baz's fastball, it wouldn't surprise me, I should say, instead of strike. It wouldn't surprise me if the Yankees can put up a couple runs late in the game as well. So if we're looking at 8.5 here, I could see a first 5 under and a full game over. That's kind of crazy to roll with and actually bet yourself, but just to give you guys a sense of where my head's at in terms of the pace of the game, okay? Start slow, end kind of strong, Yankees on top. Again, I don't know if that's worth, doing a double result or anything like that. Like, it's not like I'm 100% confident in that. It's probably like a little bit of a flyer, so if you are liking that for big plus money, maybe it's a little bit of a sprinkle, right, in terms of either an SGP with those or a double result. But Yankees, and then I think this is a slow scoring one to start, but a little bit more, runs kind of pick up late in the game once we get to these bullpens. And again, certainly the idea of the Yankees bullpen coming in, like at any moment you could drop your hat and it's like, oh crap, 4 more runs came in. You know what I mean? Give the ball to Devin Williams. I dare you. Says a Red Sox fan. Just kind of want to put that footnote in there. All right, let's move on. All right, Royals taking on the Rangers. I've kind of gone back and forth with this one. We have Seth Lugo on the bump, who he has not been very good in his last couple starts. In fact, 2 starts ago against Minnesota, 4 innings pitched, 9 hits, 2 home runs, 7 earned, 2 walks, just 1 strikeout. Then he goes out against Washington. I'm not saying the craziest of offenses right now. 4 innings pitched, 6 hits, 7 runs, 6 of them earned, 2 home runs, 4 walks, 2 strikeouts. So I don't love the idea of backing Seth Lugo. He does have fantastic numbers against this Texas squad in his career. 44 plate appearances, 32% K rate, 6% walk rate, 103 average against, a WOBA of 169. Okay. But I just still can't trust him after what he's done. That being said, you know, you have Merrill Kelly on the other side. He has a couple Texas starts, I believe 3 under his belt. He's looked pretty good. But to me, this Kansas City team is playing some really, really, really good baseball right now. So I'm still going to lean them at home. They're, 7-3 in their last 10. I think Texas is 2-8 in their last 10. So give me the Royals. But the safer thing, and I hate to use the word safe, might just be Kansas City's team total over. Like, why don't they go out there and try and score instead of us really having to back the idea of Lugo? And also, Estevez went 2 straight games. Urseg went 2 straight games. Their bullpen has a couple guys that have gone. So if you like the plus money, sure. I'm not going to argue with Merrill Kelly on the other side with Texas. But I do think this Royals team is really kind of hitting maybe like a low-key stride right now. So maybe their team total over is something that we can consider there. Pitch mix rating-wise, nothing really jumping out. Kind of has some moot points on both sides, but perhaps a Corey Seager spot here. A lefty batter. Seth Lugo struggles against lefties. And then on the other side of things, I don't mind the idea of Mikael Garcia. I think that he could have a decent offensive game as well, but we didn't even put him on the screen. Those are just kind of like slight leans. What we show on the screen are leans, and then we have leans of our leans. So those are 2 player props if you are looking for something in this game. Minnesota taking on the Athletics. We have Jacob Lopez, who, like I told you guys, I'm starting to become a Jacob Lopez guy, going up against the guy that I'm already a guy of, Joe Ryan. So we have 2 good pitchers on the bump. That makes me immediately kind of look at a first 3 and first 5 under. I do like both those spots. I think the pitch mixes could look pretty damn good as well. I will say from Joe Ryan's perspective, he really has to get through Kurtz and Langeliers. I think that those are the 2 tough bats, and after that, it's kind of easy sailing, knock on wood, for him in this lineup. But those are 2 guys that hit the fastball really well. They also hit the slider really well. You throw in the splitter as his 3rd pitch, they hit that pretty well. So those are 2 bats which could definitely put both the first 3 and first 5 in jeopardy. But Joe Ryan is a beast at home. Let's see you get the job done, right? You throw over to Jacob Lopez here. Going to throw a lot of fastballs and sliders. You can see using our dashboard, neither one of those pitches should be all that worrisome in terms of the Twin side of things. The fastball, their lineup literally doesn't hit all that well. And then some of the guys lineup hit the slider well. Buxton being one that we should worry about. Wallner as well. So sure, both pitchers have a couple guys to get through here that could put both those, first 3 and first 5s in jeopardy, but I still like them. And then I'm going to lean towards the Twins. I think getting a Joe Ryan at home probably kind of puts it over the top for me. But this one wouldn't surprise me if, it's also another spot and would start slow, and then we hand it off to bullpens that kind of go over. So, yeah, I don't like the full game under, because once the ball's out of Jacob Lopez's hands, I start to shake in my boots. Same thing with Joe Ryan. So, first 3, first 5 under. The Twins, I think Joe Ryan at that price is probably an advantage, but I don't necessarily love the idea of a full game under either. So, much like we talked about with that Yankees game, maybe this is an under that we see early and a full game kind of over. But I can expect, or you can expect probably at least the first 3 or first 5, maybe both, being in the final plays, I'd say. Guys, before we move on to the next games, go ahead and comment 24. You made it pretty much 24 minutes into the video. Really do appreciate you sticking with me. And I will say, if you're listening to this now and commented 24, lets me know that you hear this next little 10-second rant. When we travel, it pains me. I get it. And I see the comments. Why don't you do the full breakdowns? When we travel, we get out what we can. Like, when we have our normal work day, right, we're spending hours and hours and hours all day researching, trying to grind and find spots that we feel like we have edges. When we are traveling or on vacation and living life, we don't have all that time. So that's why I don't go through the entire slate. Now, we're going to try and work on that, maybe even just like a rough version where we go through things kind of quickly and give my first take on it, versus what I really want to give you guys is a lot of information and stuff. So just appreciate everyone sticking with me even when we do travel on the road. It's not the same type of video. I think it's a little bit easier of a video to create, but I'd rather do that than nothing, right? So yeah, just wanted to go on that little rant. thanking you guys and telling you why we do the shorter videos on the road, because when we're traveling or on vacation, we're not just sitting in the hotel room all day and cramming at the computer like we normally do, right? Hopefully that does make sense. But let's move on to the next games here. Really do appreciate you guys. Comment 24. All right, quick one here because we kind of already, tipped our hand. We have the Cubs taking on Milwaukee for game number 2. This one looks like it's going to be Jameson Taillon against Brandon Woodruff. Again, guys, these are doubleheaders. These pitchers, by the time we post this video, could have already flipped or changed. Maybe Patrick's the second starter, all that. But either way, I still kind of stick to what I said. Brewers getting them twice here for plus money seems like it might be a decent strategy, so we might be looking at something like that. Again, you're getting like +1, I believe it was +115, +135 for game number 1 now, and then right now for game number 2, +105. So if you can get plus money on both sides, I think that might be the move. But I wouldn't be surprised if pitching changes, and like the Brewers, obviously one of the best teams in the MLB right now, maybe the best, is like, -110 by game start. So just keep an eye on that. If you can get plus money, that's what we'd look at, simply for the strategy that we only would need one of the games. We'd pretty much need them at worst to split this series today, and we'd make a little bit of coin. All right, next up, we got Colorado taking on the Dodgers. I do apologize. There's some matchups today that I'm just like, yeah, I don't really have too much of a, I don't want to say grasp, but too much of like any sort of confidence in. And this is another one. These odds are crap. The Dodgers have not been playing justifiable baseball, other than, playing really well against the Padres. Maybe they're back, but then losing right away to Colorado. I get it. You come off a huge series against your rival, then go to Colorado, sure. But I'd just say Dodgers team total over. They should be able to go out there and get to Gomber, I guess. Emmett Sheehan's on the other side of things, but Gomber, 106 plate appearances against this Dodgers team, 309 expected batting average, an X-slug of 521, an X-wob of 389. Nothing all that tremendous. So Dodgers team total over, but you're definitely going to have to take a big number because we're in Coors. Angels taking on Cincinnati. We have Hunter Green on the bump, who looked pretty damn good in his comeback, right? He came back after, I want to say 2 months, maybe 2 months and change off. Yeah, about 2 months and change, I'd say. 3 hits, 0 earned, 6 strikeouts, no walks, 14 pitches per inning, and 6 innings of work against the Philadelphia Phillies. He did all right. I expect him to do fine against his Angels team as well. Cincinnati team total over could be on the horizon as well, going up against Kyle Hendricks, who I don't think is all that fantastic. His last couple starts have been shaky. Last time he did pitch against Cincinnati, he pitched really well, 7 1/3, 0 earned. That was way back last year. So to me, this is a spot in which we can trust Hunter Green, but also maybe the Cincinnati bats to kind of get to Hendricks, and then, hey, get to that bullpen, and I think we're okay, right? We're going to see a lot of sinkers, which is a top 10 team in the last 30 days against the sinker as well in Cincinnati. So trusting Hunter Green, trusting the bats, a ton of righties in this Angels lineup. That is where Hunter Green's been very, very good. So to me, there just isn't an easy way to at all get to the Angels. And for a price that's actually consumable for the Reds, I don't know, maybe it's a trap, but we might be walking right into it. The Goldilocks Bears are like, hey, that honey looks good, but it's not just right. We might be taking a taste anyways. Diamondbacks taking on the Guardians. In this one, we have Eduardo Rodriguez going up against Tanner Bybee. Both have some good numbers against the current lineups that they're facing today. Eduardo Rodriguez, 81 plate appearances against, 21% K rate, 6% walk rate, 240 average with a WOBA of 304. Tanner Bybee, only 16 plate appearances, but an expected batting average against of 124, X slugging 170, X WOBA 234 with a 38% K rate. So obviously both guys could do well, but I really haven't seen it out of them all that consistently, right? Like, I think that would be my concern. Cleveland's got a decent bullpen, but they've pitched Smith, Gaddis, Sabrowski, yesterday also Festa, and the day before, all those guys other than, I believe it was Sabrowski and Festa, went as well. And we also saw Heron and Enright pitch. So Cleveland's bullpen's fairly taxed. Arizona's bullpen stinks. I'm going to say for the plus money, I like the Guards, but I don't mind the idea of an over 8.5 in this one. You're going to get fastballs out of Cleveland's Tanner Bybee. Arizona hits that pretty well. Same thing for Eduardo Rodriguez, who's a lefty. Cleveland hitting lefties well and hitting the fastball well. So maybe an over is in play here. But again, if this was Arizona for plus money, I'd probably be leaning towards them. So I'm really just following that plus sign for the money line play overall. But the over, I do think both these guys can probably allow, 3 earned as a pitcher, and maybe 6 earned combined between them, and then hand it off to the bullpens. I think we could be in trouble if you're looking at an under. So yeah, I like the over today. All right, last but not least here, and it's tough because of these odds, but we'll just get out of the way. Padres, I do like, but they'd probably be some sort of a parlay piece. You have Kaiwei Tang going up against Nick Pivetta. There's a massive pitching discrepancy there, right? And you have the Padres that, coming off of a loss yesterday to the San Francisco team, just got swept by their rival. I just can't imagine them doing it again, especially with Pivetta on the bump, right? So that was their last win, and guess what? He pitched against, I believe, the San Francisco team. So to me, it's Padres or their team total over. They gave him 11 runs of run support last time out. He's been looking really, really good. So hate to do a quick one to close out, but yeah, there's nothing I can really get to on the Kaiwei Tang side of things. Last time he pitched, it was in, I think, it was in that same series. It might have been that same game against Pivetta, 1 1/3 or 1 2/3, 6 earned on 7 runs came in, and that was in that, and I'm looking at it now, that was in that 11-1 win. So if history repeats itself, we're golden there, but the Padres would be some sort of parlay piece just because of those odds. It's a little bit crazy to look at them at -240, and then the home team. I don't love laying the run line, especially at that juice with the home team. But guys, it's going to wrap it up for today's show. Hopefully you guys did enjoy. If you did, go ahead, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button down below, use that hashtag right of the day down in the comments. Another reminder, go check out Sleeper. We just talked about Pivetta. Scan that damn QR code, use the link down in the description as well as the pinned comment, and get some extra action in on the game. You'll love the app with all of the cool features that it has and all the promos and boosts that they do. So go ahead and check it out. We'll catch you guys in the next one, all right? Peace out.